For more than 1,000 years, pilgrims have been walking across Spain on something called the Way of St. James. And on their walk, they've carried a scallop shell with them. It symbolizes the pilgrimage and them as a pilgrim. And there's an interesting story behind the reason why they do this. In this video, I'm going to tell you a little bit about that, the pilgrimage, the history of the scallop shell, and I'll show you how I carve my scallop shell for my pilgrimage. Let's do the intro.
Dioramas, origami, catapults, and treasure stays, telescopes, terrariums, bonsai trees, and paper games, swords and shields, and real blacksmithing, model rockets, animation. I teach the art of real creation. Stormthecastle.com. Let's make something.
Okay, for about 1,200 years now, people have been making a pilgrimage from all over Europe to a church, a cathedral in Spain. And it's called the Camino de Santiago. That's the pilgrimage across Spain. And I will be walking it coming up soon this summer. And as a symbol, back then in the Middle Ages, they would require, the Catholic Church would require that people walk the pilgrimage at least once in their life. And when they got to the coast there on the west, they were required to get a scallop shell and bring it back as proof that they made the pilgrimage. And that's kind of interesting. Nowadays, we can just take a selfie. But back then, that's what they did. So the scallop shell became a real symbol of the pilgrimage. And now, and since then, people will either buy or get a scallop shell and attach it to their backpack to show that, hey, I'm a pilgrim. I'm on the way of St. James. I'm on the Camino or the pilgrimage. I'm going to the Compostela de Santiago as a pilgrim. And so I thought, instead of doing that, buying one, or I don't know, gathering one, I guess, I thought, I'd make one. I'll make one. It's just kind of a little bit different and unique. And so that's what I did. I carved one out of wood. And here in this video, I'll show you how I did it. And I attach it to my backpack. So when I'm on my pilgrimage as a pilgrim, I will display it proudly. So let's get started. Okay, so I used some old knife-making wood handle wood, and I can't even remember what kind of wood it is, but it's a pretty nice wood, and the label was kind of rubbed off, so I don't know what kind of wood it was, but I cut it down a couple of times to select myself a nice piece, what seemed like a nice surface with the grain, and then I just cut myself, what we would call it, like a medallion. So part of the point I'm making here in this video is, use whatever tools you can. You don't have to, go crazy, get all kinds of stuff. Whatever you got, try using. You'll see I use a bunch of different tools to do this, just to kind of visualize and then materialize what I was thinking. So there's the medallion. Plenty of extra wood, particularly in the thickness, because I wanted some depth to the shell. And then I kind of drew it out and roughed it out so I could get a sense of what I was carving. And then I used some carving tools that I had bought these really cheap, I think at Harbor Freight maybe. And okay, they need some sharpening, but hey, whittle away, do a little whittling, a little carving, whittle away some stuff, try to figure out the tools. I mean, I've done a few different carvings in this and that, a bas relief, a bas relief, and I think I carved a couple of different knives and stuff, but, I'm no expert with carving, but hey, so what? Let's do what we can do, and I'll do the best I can do. And that's my advice to you too. Hey, give it a try. Have some fun. Any tools, a rotary tool works fine. But keep, and the beautiful thing about when you're doing something like this, it took me, I don't know how many hours. It took me a few hours over the course of a couple of days. And it gives your brain time to kind of visualize how it's going to be and see how it's coming into reality. It's kind of nice. I like that. And removing all the stuff around it. So the process gets refined in your mind also as long as you're working the wood. And I thought I would keep the square for a while. I think, it was a scallop within the square was kind of nice. And I kind of liked that for a while. And then I decided, I'm going to cut it all away and just stay with just the scallop shell. Watch this. This is kind of neat the way this works. See, that's kind of nice. Use the Dremel like that or a rotary tool. Just have some fun. It was kind of clean. But hey, look at the wood chips starting to accumulate on the workbench. I like it. And this is an interesting little tip. Remember, move it around, clamp it in different ways, make it comfortable for your hands to work on. I'm sure that's a common thing. But drawing those lines in the shell was a little bit of tricky for me. I used some tools and I used the Dremel, but I got them pretty good, and then marked them off with pencil to kind of darken them. So now I'm really excited about going on to my pilgrimage. It's coming up. I've been training for 10 months. I might do another video. I got hurt. After 10 months of training, walking 6 days a week for 10 months straight, I missed almost no days. I hurt myself. I might do a video on that, but it's all about the psychology of things. See, now I'm starting to get the depth to the shell. I wanted it to have a nice curve to it, to kind of curve down, and I used a variety of different tools to do that, including 60 grit sandpaper, the carving tools, to start to give that a three-dimensional shape to it, which is kind of like the real scallop shell. So you can see it's got more shape to it. I even did more, and then cut away all the excess. I had some other knife making. I have a whole bunch of knife making handle woods that are really nice, but they all were too small. This was the biggest block I had, so I had to go with this block. But it's okay. It came out pretty good. So there's more curve. And here's a trick I'll show you here. You know, think about any tools you can use. And this next tip actually worked pretty good for me. I really liked it. It was using emery boards, particularly to get in those little crevices and look in the cracks and do some final polishing kind of it. Kind of neat. Look at all that wood chips, those beautiful wood curls and that. So once I finished it, I painted it white, front and back, and then I sealed it with Mod Podge, multiple coats. Put on a coat of Mod Podge, let it dry, put on another coat, let it dry. Now, and I drilled some holes in it so I could put a strap in there. And I'm actually hanging this one contrary to the way most of them are hanging. Most of them hang the other way around, like I guess you could say upside down. But I wanted it to hang right side up like this. It just seemed nicer to me. So I'm going to put the holes here and hang it this way rather than upside down. And let me put it on my backpack, and that's it. My pilgrimage is coming up. If you want to follow along, I'm going to be doing some stuff here on my usual YouTube channel, but I'll be having a lot more stuff and some special stuff. You know, I'm visiting sites in Rome. I'm doing some Da Vinci stuff. I'm doing the Vatican and all that. And of course, there's the pilgrimage for 500 miles. I'll be going a couple of months, but you want insider stuff, check out my Patreon channel, where I will be giving special things and special gifts and sending postcards to my patrons. Thank you.